Precious Metal Summit 2022 in Zurich. And now we have here for the first time Silver Tigre Metals, and Glenn Jessome, the CEO, is here with us. Hey, good to have you here, Glenn.
Joachim, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about this. Let's go.
Me too. It's great. I had a look on your company already, and I found it really, really interesting, I must say. You have the Tigre, which is an old mine.
Beautiful.
And I must say, I saw values like the top was 83 kilograms silver equivalent. Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
That's a good word for it, and I agree with you so much. Look, you know, we're going to talk about the asset, but your listeners have to understand one thing. It's about track record. We've been in Mexico 30 years out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. We've built 5 mines. We've raised over $1 billion from all the institutions and put that all into Mexico. We're a Canadian company, but we have a few employees in Canada, 2. All of our people are Mexicans, and we're a Mexican company, and all we do in Canada is raise the money and take it down there and build mines. And that's what we're going to do with the Tigre. But boy, what an asset it was. What you didn't figure out is why we bought it. In 2017, my team said, you got to buy it. Because from 1908, think about this, to 1930, that old American mine, before it closed, they went home because silver went from $1.33 to 10 cents. They dropped their tools. 100 million silver equivalent ounces at an average grade of 2 kilos. The cutoff was 1.2 kilos. But their mill was 100 tons per day for 10 years and 220 for the last 12. Can you imagine that ore? And that they just went home. And they left it, and we picked it up. So that's it was.
Fantastic.
There's no new discovery in Mexico, Joachim. Look for a mine in Mexico under an old Spanish head frame or an American head frame. It's just what we've been doing for 30 years. It's worked out pretty good.
Okay, super. So that sounds to me like you want to develop your next maybe 6 mine then?
Well, look, I don't want to give a hard time to people. Like we have a lot of people in the industry, and I get it. You have to start with your first one. But from our perspective, we're miners. We basically have built 5 mines. Along the way, 2 others we sold to majors. The group out of Halifax, our group, 2 years ago, and one of our other sister companies, Go Gold Resources, the same technical team between the 2. We sold our Santa Cruz asset to Agnico Eagle. That's really hard. So all we do when we show up on that site, from getting the old records to drilling the holes, now we're underground at the Tigre. We're walking in those same stopes where the old timers stopped mining in 2 kilos, is to mine. Because the only way you win in this game, you don't win with a piece of paper saying, look what I got. You got to be able to prove people or show to people you have the track, because it's all about getting the metal. We're called miners. That's all we do. And if someone comes along, which they don't usually, and says, we got to buy it, it's not, hope is not a strategy. We're going to build a mine at the Tigre, 100%.
Okay, so but when you say you're going to build the mine, what's the game plan from now on? Meaning for, let's say, this year and next year.
So you know, short term, the world has changed a little bit. You should understand how we raise our money first. In the last 2 years, I raised over $60 million for Silver Tigre Metals. We have about $25 million of that left. The last one was a bought deal at double our valuation right now, no warrant attached. All the banks in Toronto cover us and back us. Most of that $60 million came from Franklin Templeton, Sprott Asset Management, Merck, Van Eck. That's who funds us. There's a reason they do that, because of track record, because they love the asset. So the important part about that is that now we have enough money to keep moving forward with our drilling, to go underground, start exploring from underground. But remember, when you're underground to explore, you're much developing cheaper. A mine. Well, yes, but you're also developing. The next step is, if you're going underground to explore, you're really underground developing the entryways you're going to need to at some point haul that. Because what are we? We're miners. You at some point want to take the metal out. Don't just send drill rigs in. So we're very well funded. We've drilled over 100,000 meters so far. We have a 1 million ounce open pit gold resource already on the books in the halo around the old mine. We've got unlimited quartz veins. We're drilling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters. You can see it in the results. Multi-kilo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kilos. More width than the old timers took. They just wanted that meter of the super high grade. You could look at our last couple of drill results down underneath the south end of that, north end of that old mine. Like, we're seeing 2, 3 meters of multi-kilo, but we're also seeing 9, 10, 12 meters of over a kilo. That's very valuable ore. So what we want to do now is continue to drill, but put a resource estimate out. Second quarter of next year. Resource estimate, but the first economics. How do you get the old Tigre mine back in production? And that's really what's been running through our heads nonstop for the last year. Now we have to put the plan out in a 43-101 that the whole market can see. And I think they're going to like it because remember what the Tigre Mine was. Super high-grade ore in a small mill. We're going to start moving in that direction as fast as possible. The world demands it now. I think you're going to see a real move in the next couple of years. I think it's a risk-off world where people are going to stop waving around how many ounces they have and start saying, okay, we need to get these ounces out of the ground now. And we're well, not needed, but you're forced to because risk is off. With the big institutions right now, they put their checkbooks away. We're very lucky that we have enough funding to execute our business plan for well through the next year. That's a very important thing in this market.
So if I understand you correct, you would start with that open pit probably and then go underground?
No, it would be a different, if you want to get inside my head, I can't be held to this because we have to make sure we do all the proper 43-101s and but in our mind, look, if and this is all publicly disclosed information because the company I bought a public company and delisted to get this asset in 2017. A lot of the information was disclosed that there was a pre-feasibility study by that company, even though they didn't execute it, done on the tailings. That's a beautiful big pile of ore. Outside that old mine, there's a couple of 100,000 tons of the rock that the old timers already had mined sitting at surface. So you have that. We're already underground with Cominvi. We've announced all that. We're right back in the guts of the old mine, and we've opened that up to a 4x4 opening to get right into the mine, and we're going to start exploring from there. We think we're going to identify some very good ore there. So between the ore we have and the underground, the first step would be to move towards establishing a mill there for that, and as part of that, phase in the open pit, but that's a couple of years down the road for the open pit. You have to get the permits, you have to do some things, and as we look out over the horizon, that's a beautiful pit. It'll probably be 5,000 tons per day, and start moving towards getting that beautiful halo of gold around the old quartz veins out of the ground. But that's how we would phase it over the next several years, because the prize here is all of our explorations around the 1.5 miles around that old Tigre Mine, north-south underneath it. We've got 35 kilometers of this trend. And if you go look at our disclosure, we've drilled 4 or 5 kilometers to the north and hit it. We've drilled to the south and hit it. How do you explore 25 kilometers? You have to get this thing in production. It has to cash flow because these districts, these are 30 to 40-year events as you develop them. So we really need to get a solution where we don't always have to go back to these institutions that have supported us, because every time we do that, it's dilution, and that will matter in the end. So from our perspective, that's the vision we see in the next couple of years, and your viewers should really start to, look, we're going to explore as we have. We're going to deliver some of the best, highest grade silver results on the planet. We know that. We've proofs in the pudding. But now is the time to say, okay, what's the economic test? Now it's time to start thinking about getting that super high grade out of the ground, and that's what the next year or two is going to be.
Okay, wow, that sounds like a lot of work, I would say.
It is, yeah.
Fantastic. And
but we're funded to do it, which is very important.
That's what I just
If I was sitting here with $5 in my pocket and saying, I'm just going to go out and everybody's going to give me the money to, they're not. Not right now. That could change tomorrow. But in our opinion, we started looking at this over the last year where the world might go. We raised enough money to de-risk our business plan in Silver Tigre by putting enough capital in to get through this. So we're one of the lucky few that have a beautiful project that we are going to move towards not only more ounces, but proving the economics of it probably in the next year or more. And when unfortunately a lot of our peers are just going to have to slow down and wait for the world to turn. If we didn't have the money, we'd do the same thing. We were strategic enough that on the evening that Mr. Putin fired those terrible missiles into Ukraine, we announced a $23 million bot financing and closed it in March. And so now we're head down, and the world is going to go where it's going to go. But when it turns, and it will, when this recession is over, when this inflation is over, when interest rates are done, it will happen. I don't think it's going to happen next month. That's my opinion. When it happens, all the work we've done will be when we're rewarded by great exponential growth in our market cap. And that's the way we plan it. We always do that. Because in the end, you ask what we do. Everybody asks, are you going to sell it or build it? You don't have any control over somebody else's boardroom. All you have control over is
what
You
you
have
are
a
doing.
track record that you can build mines in Mexico. You have the team that can build mines in Mexico. You have an asset that we think will prove that it should be turned into a mine in Mexico, and that's what we're going to do.
Fantastic. Then let's do it. I like it.
So have me
Thank you
back
very
on
much.
in a year, and we'll see how we've done.
That's a deal. Super.
Thank
like
you, Yoko.
it.
I really
Thank you very
appreciate
much,
your
Glenn.
time.
Thank
Great.
you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Glenn Jessome, the CEO of Silver Tigre Metals. And you heard it. Really enthusiastic, really a lot of power behind the team and the guy here. And that's what we really want to see. The old Tigre Mine looks like they can bring that definitely into production. And they're well cashed up to execute on their work plans. Yeah, and I think they have a great plan behind it. You should check out that wonderful company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Zurich.